welcome to yet another Buffalo Bills pregame. Our favorite show of the year. It's our draft preview. Optimism is high. This is when it is best to be a Bills fan, and after a big playoff season, we're feeling good?
We're feeling interesting. I think there's an irony here that needs to be stated. For years, ever since I know you, I think the first thing you said to me was, "Hi, my name is Randy and the Bills need to tank." I think that was your first words to me. How do you feel about the irony that it took the Bills to make the playoffs to get into position to get their franchise quarterback?
That is right. I've been heavy on the tank train, especially for the Bills, which is interesting because the Sabres are the ones who actually did it. Especially for the Bills to get a quarterback, because it's the one position in all of sports that has more effect on the team than anything.
Yeah.
And without that franchise quarterback, you're only going to do as good as the rest of your roster can get you with maybe like a quarterback on a rookie contract. Your best, like without having your franchise quarterback, you get the best quarterback on a rookie contract that you can, and you just plow forward, paying other players as much as you can, until you get that franchise quarterback. That's what we got to keep on doing. And we kind of were pussyfooting it with Tyrod, where we had like the cheapest quarterback that wasn't on a rookie contract and tried to make that work. And I mean, playoffs. Yeah, he got us the playoffs. He did find his way into 2 Pro Bowls.
Yeah.
I mean, like he didn't do bad for the Bills, but he still gets booted out of town after bringing the team to their first playoffs in almost 2 decades.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, and I just want to say this really quickly, I think a lot of it had to do with the game itself against the Jaguars, because I was almost 100% convinced if we made the playoffs with Tyrod, there's no way a team's going to get rid of that player. It just doesn't look good. But then he didn't have a good game against the Jaguars. I mean, they were a really good defense, but I think that's really what did it, that 10-3 game. I think if it was a much different story, if he had a good game, we still lost, I think we'd be in a much different place.
So if we lost like 31-28, you think he's still here?
Yeah, I do.
With 4 defensive touchdowns?
Yeah.
So we did add AJ McCarron. You're obviously jumping on the McCarron train. Yeah, number 5 jersey.
I bought my McCarron number 5 jersey. You don't have to prove that it's a Tyrod jersey because it's not. It's a McCarron jersey, all right?
So do you think McCarron is a step up from Tyrod? And is there any way, if he is not a step up, is there any way that we improve a quarterback position for week 1?
It's a mystery. That's really where we're at right now, because McCarron's only started 4 times, and I think one of the games was in the playoffs, and he got the Bengals into the playoffs. I know Cincinnati fans were calling for McCarron to start over Dalton for a while. That doesn't really tell me much because they really don't care down there. But it's a mystery. Like, we don't know, and that's kind of in a weird way exciting. It is. But let's not mistake what happened in the offseason. Basically, you had teams and players picking like lab partners, like once free agency started, and there were 6 good lab partners to pick, and we got the last one. McCarron went to the Bills. There was the last opportunity he had to start, and the last opportunity for the Bills to get a quarterback that was maybe decent. And they just kind of found each other, like, at the very end. I hope, in all seriousness, I hope that he actually gets an opportunity to play, and he just not bumped aside for whatever quarterback we pick, or for Peterman, for God's sakes. Peterman. I mean, right now our starting wide receivers, one has a chronic knee problem, the other one is fighting for Jesus. So, I mean, we have issues here. They need to be addressed.
I want to say that if Zay Jones makes the team, I'm going to buy a jersey.
All right.
He's become my new favorite.
All right, can't wait for that.
There has also been a change in the coaching staff. We got Brian Daboll out of Alabama here as our offensive coordinator. Do you see him having any sway or decision making in terms of drafting a quarterback?
Well, I mean, I think it's going to be his call whether or not they go with the quarterback they go with.
Of all the team needs that the Bills have for this going into the draft, what do you think is the most important?
We don't know what we got with McCarron. But he could really be bad. I mean, that's...
Alabama quarterbacks usually are.
The experience between Peterman and McCarron is, I want to say, 7 games. There's no measurable statistic there. So, given that, quarterback is our top need. Then I would say line, then I would say linebacker, and then I would say receiver. Sadly, we were in the exact same position last year. You keep on picking those positions. You could possibly look at a corner in the 2nd or 3rd round.
You mentioned needs on the line. Eric Wood, of course, due to injury, was forced to retire. Richie Incognito, having alleged health problems himself, is hemming and hawing on an exit from the NFL. How much does those two changes on our offensive line, does that affect our entire draft?
I think it kind of does. Just it adds that one degree of uncertainty because, I mean, we knew we got rid of Cordy, we knew about Eric Wood, and now Richie's gone. Those were the three linemen that we kind of all depended on, and now they're all gone. They're done. I mean, maybe Richie's on the team. Who knows? We'll see. Whatever happens, I don't trust it. Like, either way. It makes the team look at the 9 picks they have a little bit more carefully and be like, okay, we have more draft capital in the first 3 rounds than almost any other team in history. Can we get that quarterback and still pick the players around it to fill in those needs and get really good starting positions? Because most of your first, second, and third rounders are potential starters or slated into starting positions.
You think a coach is going to more or less put his livelihood on the line based on like whatever quarterback happens to fall to him?
It's really hard to say what's going to happen after the top. When we get into the mocks, I'll get into that a little bit more specifically. Because you have a few teams that could potentially trade up ahead of Buffalo, and that's where the problem comes in. You got the Dolphins, you got the Cardinals, you even got the Patriots now because they have 2 first-round picks, and they got to find their Brady replacement.
And a glaring need at quarterback, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they got to find a Brady replacement, and how much draft capital are they going to have in the next few years to get that high of a quarterback? Probably not.
The consensus would be that there's like 6 top-tier quarterbacks in this draft. Which ones would you feel good about trading up for? Like, what situations would you feel good about the Bills moving to trade up to grab one of these quarterbacks?
All right. So most of the time when I do a top 10, as you can see all these papers around here that I construct every single year that nobody ever pays attention to, most of my perceptions versus like the league's perceptions are pretty similar, but this year my quarterback list and their quarterback list is completely different. The standard list is Darnold, Rosen, Allen, Mayfield, Jackson, Rudolph. Those are your top 6. I've seen a lot of projections where like Lamar Jackson and Mason Rudolph are tied somehow, even though they're completely different players.
They get drafted at the same time.
Like, it's silly. But that's the point. Like all of those 6 could potentially be drafted, just like the '83 draft. My top 7 are a little bit different. I put Mayfield, Rudolph, and Rosen in the only happy category. Those are the only 3 I'd be happy with being picked. After that, I have Lamar Jackson and actually Mike White. I think Mike White's so much better than he's given credit for. But would I want either of them to be picked in the first round? No. No one else is thinking about picking him that high. And then finally, Darnold, he's from USC. We go through this, I feel like, every few years where there's this great quarterback that's from USC, and he does horrible in the NFL. What makes Darnold any different? And finally,
I'm so
Allen.
glad we didn't draft Matt Barkley.
Yeah. Cue the clip.
So I think Matt Barkley, if you want to talk about that for a second, is the best possible option at quarterback. I think he passes the eyeball test. He's a good-looking young man, and the troops line up to follow him.
But Josh Allen he has a great arm and a nice personality if you ever listen to him in interviews. But he is so inaccurate at that level, playing at Wyoming, and it's just like, what's he going to do when he comes to Buffalo? I mean, we thought Tyrod was bad, or EJ was bad with his accuracy. I mean, wait until Allen gets here. It just looks bad from my perspective. So, to sum up your question, Mayfield and Rosen are okay to trade up for, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Anyone else, no. If Mason Rudolph is the only thing available that falls to us at 12, that is also fine. But I wouldn't, and this is where it gets kind of hairy, I wouldn't go like Mason Rudolph over Rosen or over Mayfield. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I'm at with that. Because I trust the people who do this for a living.
So according to your list, if we were sitting at 12 and Sam Darnold and Mike White are on the board, you're saying that you want to get Mike White?
No. See, I hypothetically yes, but that's where I would actually defer my own trust to the experts, and I would prefer Darnold at that point. But I don't think that'll happen. I don't think there's any chance in hell Sam Darnold drops down to 12. The only thing that Darnold has going for him is the fact he's not the worst on any of the lists. There's potential problems with every quarterback. I already mentioned Allen with the accuracy. Rosen, he has like he writes too much stuff online, or he's not quite invested in football. Well, Baker Mayfield, he has like the off-field issues. I mean, I'm sure some of you have seen the cop arrest video, and I mean, he was tackled pretty easily by the cops, so that tells you something too. And the character thing could clash with McDermott, quite frankly. So I mean, there's that to think about too. And the long story short is Darnold doesn't fall in any of those like but categories, and that's why he's the best.
But USC.
That's mine, but that's just mine. Maybe I'm wrong.
All right,
I've been wrong every single year about who I think the Bills are going to pick. So maybe I'm wrong again.
All right, well, meat and potatoes. Let's give the people what they came here for.
Okay.
I'm starting with mine.
All right, let's do it.
I like my mock draft this year.
All right, let's do it.
So I have the Browns with their first overall pick with all the 6 quarterbacks there. They really like Saquon Barkley, and then you go with the running back in the first round.
Okay.
And this freaks out the world because now all the quarterbacks available at number 2, and the Giants are looking to stock up their team for Eli's last big run here for a third Super Bowl. And they trade to the Cardinals, who draft Sam Darnold.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's getting crazy.
What do they give up? Like 2 firsts in the future?
Yeah. A first this year, first next year, and a third round this year. The third pick, I really wanted to say the Jets traded down if they tried to get there, just for fun's sake.
Yeah.
But they're going to pick a quarterback, obviously, and I have them taking Rosen out of UCLA. Back to the Browns. Of course, they're freaked out now, so they're getting a quarterback. It's a run-on quarterback, so you can't tell. And so they get Josh Allen out of Wyoming.
Okay.
It would seem that Broncos fans don't want a quarterback. They need to stick with their defensive strong strategy, get Bradley Chubb out of NC State. And the Bills now have someone who's willing to be a trade partner. The Colts don't need a quarterback. And we give up, who knows? I don't know. I don't want to give up both these first-round picks, but I don't want to give up the one next year. So I guess we'll give up both the first-round picks this year, and we'll draft Baker Mayfield out of Oklahoma.
Woo! I like that.
So I think they're going to trade up, even though I don't want them to. All right, sorry. So tell me the tale of your.
All right.
Your
So here's what's going on with mine. At the very beginning, I really thought, because I thought, like I said, I thought Mayfield was the best. I still think Mayfield is the best quarterback in this draft. So I thought eventually the experts were going to see that, but they have not. Every single expert out there is like either Darnold or Allen going to the Browns, or Barkley. A few of them are saying that too. So I'm going to go with the general status, and I'm going to say they're going to go with the least mistaked guy because the Browns are trying to turn over a new leaf, and they have Tyrod as insurance. They're going to go with Sam Darnold with the first pick. And then the Giants come up. And the Giants, again, they could do the future for Eli or running back. They have Jonathan Stewart running back now. Giants have had no running game the last couple of years. Like, that's what's decimated their team. And I still think that the Giants are thinking, you know what? I think we only need to fix a couple things before we make the playoffs again. They just made it the year before. So I think it's tempting for them to get quarterback, but I think Barkley's going to be a little bit more tempting. They're going to go with Saquon Barkley, especially because the Browns did not pick him. So like you, Jets, I have them picking Josh Rosen. And then the Browns again are up, thanks to that trade with the Texans last year. And I have them just going the best player available. You have to if you have your quarterback at this point. So they're going to go with Bradley Chubb there. And then the Broncos is another interesting one. I think they're in another BPA position as well. I haven't gotten a lot of chatter that they really want a quarterback at this point. It's still very possible they might. They could be somebody who goes for a Mayfield or an Allen. But I see them going with Quentin Nelson at the guard position. And then for the next 6 standard good players, as you can see listed in front of you. So finally, the Bills. Their patience paid off. And at 12, they're going to have to choose between Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield. And unfortunately, I have them taking Josh Allen instead of Baker Mayfield. And I believe that the character issues that McDermott is looking for more aligns with Allen over Mayfield. So there you go. I don't like it, but that's what I think is going to happen. But rest assured, like I said before, I've never been right about this once.
All right, well, all we can do now is wait.
Yeah.
And find out what Richie Incognito is going to do.
Yeah.
Maybe OTAs this week. Maybe he's in, maybe he's out. Maybe he's halfway in, halfway out.
We'll see.
And until after the draft, I think that'll wrap us up for here, Buffalo Bills pregame. Enjoy your draft. We'll see you soon.
Go.
Look at all this stuff, everyone. Look at there's paper. It's stuff written. It's not even blank.